The stadium lights burned like stars across the Paris night. Rain dripped from the edge of the tunnel. Thousands of voices rolled through the arena like thunder. And standing alone near the touchline was a skinny Brazilian kid with a smile nobody could understand. Some players walked onto the field carrying pressure. Others carried fear. But this young man carried joy. Pure joy. At just 22 years old, Ronaldinho played football like the world was a playground built only for him. The defenders knew his name. The coaches studied his movements. The media called him unpredictable. But nobody, not a single soul in world football, truly understood what was about to happen. Because Ronaldinho was not simply becoming a superstar, he was becoming magic itself. And long before the trophies, long before the Ballon d'Or, long before Barcelona worshipped him like a king, there was a young footballer dancing through chaos with a smile so fearless that entire stadiums forgot to breathe. This is the story of Ronaldinho at 22 years old. The age when football stopped feeling ordinary. The age when defenders became victims. The age when the beautiful game became art. And the world would never be the same again. The story begins far away from the giant European stadiums, far away from the flashing cameras, far away from fame. It begins in Porto Alegre, Brazil, a place where football wasn't just a sport, it was survival. Children played on dusty streets under blazing heat. Goals were made from sandals. Dreams were built from nothing. And among those children was a boy named Ronaldo de Assis Moreira. But the world would eventually know him by another name, Ronaldinho, Little Ronaldo. From the beginning, there was something different about him. He didn't move like the other kids. He didn't think like them either. While others played with urgency, Ronaldinho played with imagination. Every touch looked impossible. Every dribble felt disrespectful. Every smile made opponents even angrier. But football for Ronaldinho was never about humiliation. It was expression, freedom, music. His feet moved with rhythm. His body swayed like samba. He played as though he could hear drums nobody else could hear. And maybe he could. His father worked at a shipyard and also played football. His older brother Roberto became a professional player first. The family believed football could change their lives. Then tragedy arrived. Ronaldinho lost his father at a young age. The pain changed everything. His mother became the foundation of the family. His brother became his mentor. And football became more than a game. It became purpose. By the time Ronaldinho entered the youth system at Grêmio, stories about him were already spreading. Coaches whispered about impossible tricks. Teammates laughed in disbelief during training. Opponents walked away embarrassed. There was one youth match people never forgot. Ronaldinho scored 23 goals in a single game. 23. It sounded fake. It sounded exaggerated. But with Ronaldinho, exaggeration often became reality. Because the more impossible something sounded, the more likely he was to do it. Soon, Brazil began paying attention. And Brazil does not hand out praise easily when it comes to football. This is the country of Pelé, the country of Zico, the country where greatness is expected. But Ronaldinho was different even by Brazilian standards. There was flair. Then there was Ronaldinho. By the late 1990s, clips of his tricks spread everywhere. Elastico, no-look passes, rainbow flicks, defenders sliding across grass while Ronaldinho escaped smiling. He played with disrespectful confidence. But beneath the joy was terrifying intelligence. People focused on the tricks. They ignored the vision, the awareness, the speed of thought. Ronaldinho didn't just embarrass defenders physically, he destroyed them mentally. He made them doubt themselves. And once doubt entered their minds, it was over. Then came the move that changed everything. Europe called. Paris Saint-Germain wanted him. At the time, PSG was searching for identity, searching for excitement, searching for a player who could electrify the city. They found Ronaldinho. But when he arrived in France, many people weren't convinced. Some believed he relied too much on tricks. Some thought he lacked discipline. Others claimed European football would expose him. Too flashy, too relaxed, too carefree. But football history is filled with people who mistake genius for chaos. And Ronaldinho was pure genius. Paris became the stage for his transformation. The city lights, the pressure, the expectations. None of it scared him. If anything, it made him brighter. At 22 years old, Ronaldinho played like a man possessed. Every match felt unpredictable. Crowds arrived expecting entertainment, and somehow he always deserved. The stadium lights burned through the night like fire from another world. 70,000 people screamed as one man stood over the ball with a smile on his face. Not anger, not pressure, not fear. A smile. Because for him, football was never war. It was freedom. And that man was before the trophies, before the Ballon d'Or, before the magic nights, before defenders started praying instead of tackling. There was just a skinny kid from Porto Alegre with a ball at his feet and impossible dreams in his head. People say football is about winning, but Ronaldinho changed that forever. Because when he touched the ball, people forgot the score. They watched in disbelief as defenders slipped, stumbled, and disappeared behind movements that didn't even seem human. Every touch felt like music. Every dribble felt like art. Every goal felt like destiny unfolding in real time. And the terrifying part? He played like he was having fun. Not pressure, not stress. Fun. That's what made him dangerous. This is not just the story of a football player. This is the story of magic itself. The story of a man who made the entire world fall in love with football again. The story of smiles in the middle of chaos, of impossible skills, of genius too wild to control. This is the rise of Ronaldinho. The world first heard his name in Brazil, a place where football isn't a game, it's survival. Children played barefoot on broken streets under burning sun. The ball bounced across concrete, dirt, and shattered pavement. Every neighborhood had talent. Every corner had dreamers. Every kid wanted escape. But Ronaldinho was different. Even as a child, people stopped what they were doing to watch him play. Not because he scored goals, because nobody understood how he was doing it. He dribbled without looking, passed without warning, moved like rhythm itself controlled his body. The older boys laughed at him at first, until he embarrassed them, again, and again, and again. Nutmegs, elasticos, fake turns, no-look passes. He played football like he was inventing it on the spot. His older brother Roberto became one of the first people to realize something terrifying. Ronaldinho wasn't normal. He had imagination most players never develop in an entire lifetime. But talent alone doesn't create legends. Pain does. When Ronaldinho was still young, tragedy struck his family. His father died suddenly after suffering a heart attack in the family swimming pool. Everything changed. The joy inside the house disappeared overnight. The dream suddenly felt fragile. But football became more than a game after that. It became purpose. Every touch of the ball carried emotion. Every match became a promise. And Ronaldinho played with something the world would later recognize instantly. Freedom mixed with pain. That combination creates artists. Years later, defenders across Europe would discover exactly what that meant. At youth level, Ronaldinho became a phenomenon. There are stories from Brazil about coaches standing frozen on the sidelines because they had never seen anyone move like him before. One famous youth match ended with Ronaldinho scoring every single goal in a ridiculous victory. Not because he was selfish, because nobody could stop him. The ball obeyed him. That's the only way people could explain it. He wasn't simply fast. He wasn't simply technical. The ball looked attached to his feet by invisible strings. Soon the entire country began whispering his name. Ronaldinho, the smiling kid with impossible skills. Then came This Was the Beginning. Crowds arrived expecting entertainment. They left speechless. He danced through defenders with no fear whatsoever. Experienced professionals looked confused trying to mark him. 1 second he faced you, the next second he was gone. Football in Brazil already worshipped creativity, but Ronaldinho took creativity somewhere else entirely. He turned football into imagination. And then came the moment that changed everything. The world saw him. In 1999, during the Copa America, Ronaldinho exploded onto the international stage within suddenly, the secret was gone. Europe was watching now. Scouts couldn't believe what they were seeing. No player moved like this. No player smiled like this. No player embarrassed defenders this casually. One dribble could destroy an entire defensive line. One fake shot could send stadiums into madness. Ronaldinho wasn't just effective, he was unforgettable. And football was about to change forever. When he moved to Europe, Europe expected talent. They were not prepared for magic. France became the laboratory for Ronaldinho's chaos. Every week brought new humiliation for defenders. One match he'd flick the ball over.
Hook 0-0 to 0-15. Fast-paced cinematic music rises. Clip opens with Ronaldinho humiliating defenders with impossible footwork. Elasticos, no-look passes, smiling while the crowd loses its mind. Narrator. Look at this. No, seriously, look at this. The balance, the imagination, the audacity. Defenders frozen, fans screaming, commentators laughing in disbelief. And the craziest part? Ronaldinho was only 22 years old when he did this. Before the Ballon d'Or, before football worshipped him, before he became a global icon, there was a young magician rewriting the rules of the game in real time. Introduction 0-15 to 0-30. Slow motion clips of Ronaldinho at PSG and early Brazil appearances. Narrator. Football has seen legends. Players who dominated, players who conquered, players who won everything. But Ronaldinho was different, because Ronaldinho didn't just play football. He made football feel impossible. At just 22 years old, the Brazilian superstar was already turning matches into street football masterpieces, embarrassing world-class defenders with a smile on his face. This wasn't normal talent. This was football art. And today, we're diving into the most outrageous moments from Ronaldinho's unbelievable 22-year-old season. The moments that warned the world a legend had arrived. Presentation of challenge, 0-30 to 130. Montage of clips flashing rapidly. Narrator. Now here's the problem. How do you narrow down Ronaldinho's best moments at 22 when every single game looked like a highlight reel? Seriously, most players spend their early 20s learning the game. Ronaldinho? He was already humiliating elite defenders for entertainment. Week after week, he produced moments so absurd, they looked fake. The flicks, the elasticos, the no-look passes, the impossible dribbles, the outrageous confidence. And remember, this wasn't against amateurs. These were world-class professionals, international defenders, Champions League-level players. Yet Ronaldinho treated them like traffic cones. What made him terrifying wasn't just skill, it was unpredictability. Nobody knew what he was going to do next, including Ronaldinho himself. He played football with pure instinct. 1 second he'd slow the game down. The next he'd explode through 4 defenders with impossible control. And unlike so many flashy players, Ronaldinho delivered goals, assists, match-winning moments. At 22 years old, he wasn't just entertaining the world, he was dominating it. And somehow, the more pressure he faced, the bigger the magic became. Exploration, development, 130 to 230. Clip 1. Ronaldinho versus England, 2002 World Cup. Narrator. Let's start with the moment that announced Ronaldinho to the entire planet. Brazil versus England, 2002 World Cup quarterfinal. The stakes couldn't be bigger. England had Beckham, Brazil had Ronaldo and Rivaldo, but on that day, a 22-year-old Ronaldinho stole the spotlight. First came the assist. Ronaldinho danced past defenders before delivering a perfect ball to Rivaldo. Calm, precise, effortless. But then came the moment football fans still debate to this day. The free kick. Everyone expected a cross, even the goalkeeper. But Ronaldinho saw something nobody else saw. David Seaman standing slightly off his line. One glance, one swing, one impossible idea. Boom! The ball soared through the air, dropped from the sky, and exploded into the net. The stadium fell silent. Commentators couldn't believe it. At 22 years old, Ronaldinho had just scored one of the most outrageous World Cup goals ever seen. Clip 2, PSG dribbling highlights. Narrator. Then there was Paris Saint-Germain. This is where Ronaldinho transformed football into street theater. Defenders weren't just beaten. They were embarrassed. There's one sequence where he receives the ball surrounded by defenders. Most players panic. Ronaldinho smiles. He flicks the ball one direction, spins the other, slides between two defenders, then nutmegs another before delivering a no-look pass. The crowd erupts, not because of a goal, because they had never seen football played like this before. He wasn't just trying to win, he wanted to entertain. And somehow, that made him even more dangerous. Clip 3, Brazil skills montage. Narrator, and then came the international performances. This is where Ronaldinho became unstoppable. Every touch carried imagination. Every movement felt improvised. Opponents tried double-teaming him. Didn't matter. He'd flick the ball over one player, dance past another, then deliver a pass nobody else on earth could even see. At 22, Ronaldinho wasn't thinking like other footballers. He was creating football in real time. Climax, key moment, 2:30 to 3:30. Music becomes emotional and cinematic. Slow motion setup. Ronaldinho receives the ball near midfield. Immediately, defenders close in. Most players would pass. Ronaldinho attacks. First defender? Gone. Second defender lunges. Ronaldinho drags the ball behind his standing leg with impossible control. The crowd gasps. Third defender steps forward. Nutmeg. Absolute humiliation. Now he's sprinting into space. But Ronaldinho still isn't finished. Instead of taking the safe option, he slows down, smiles, looks one direction, passes another. Perfect assist. Goal. The stadium explodes. Teammates lose their minds. Commentators scream. Fans jump from their seats. Because everyone watching understood something in that moment. This wasn't just a talented footballer. This was a once-in-a-generation artist. At 22 years old, Ronaldinho already possessed something football cannot teach. Joy. Pure joy. And that joy made him fearless. He played without fear of failure, without fear of embarrassment, without fear of losing the ball. He played the game the way children dream about playing it. Free, creative, beautiful. And that's exactly why the world fell in love with him. Conclusion, 3:30 to 3:45. Emotional montage of smiling Ronaldinho clips. Narrator, when we look back at Ronaldinho at 22, we're not just watching highlights. We're witnessing the birth of football magic. These moments weren't accidents. They were early warnings of the legend Ronaldinho would become. A player who inspired millions, changed football forever, and reminded the world that the beautiful game should actually be beautiful. Even today, very few players can make fans feel what Ronaldinho made them feel. Wonder. Call to action, 3:45 to 4. Music rises one final time. Narrator. Now we want to hear from you. What's your favorite Ronaldinho moment from his early career? Was it the World Cup free kick, the impossible dribbles, the no-look passes, or something even crazier? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you love football legends, iconic moments, and the stories behind the greatest players ever, make sure you subscribe because the next football masterpiece is coming soon.